Live with the community. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development bi-weekly call. Today is July 6th. It is our first call of the second half of the month because we like to break down numbers such as that. Let's take a look at our agenda for today. We're going to cover a number of updates on the community, talk about some programs and projects. We're going to talk about some samples because we got lots of cool samples to share with you. Then, of course, it's going to be picture time. So get those cameras ready to take pictures of those fantastic faces. And then we've got three amazing presenters today. Stephen is going to cover how to automate and optimize your requisition process with the Power Platform. Ejaz is going to cover how to build a PDF document pack using Microsoft Teams, Tab, SSO, and Azure functions. And then, of course, the horse whisperer himself is back. He's going to cover some list formatting tips and tricks. Chris Kent is going to walk in on his horse, and we'll be seeing all about it when he gets here. But let's first talk about some community resources available for you. So we've got a bunch of videos. These videos are available and made by Microsoft and by the community for all of you to continue to learn how to use our fantastic features and functionality. We've got our LinkedIn group for discussions. You're able to interact there. Got our projects and programs for SharePoint, Office Dev, P&P, Power Platform, and of course our galleries. Plenty of galleries for samples. Team samples, SPFX samples, Power Platform samples, list formatting, a plethora of samples because it means a lot to us. But you don't need to remember all these URLs. You only really need to remember one, and that will get you access to all of the amazing resources that you see available. And that is aka.ms/community/home. So check it out, and it'll give you access to everything. Now, you're on this call because you like calls. We want to show you all the amazing calls that are available to you in the community. We've got Microsoft 365 and Power Platform calls. Now, our first one is the Tuesday call. This is a Microsoft-only speakers call, so it's fantastic to get all the information from those product managers, program managers, and developers making the amazing products that we love. Now, that is on a break, though, until the 22nd of August. So we can't really take out that from your calendar because it's an ICS invite that you all put on your calendar. Just know that it's on break. You got your Tuesdays back. And you may see some alerts, by the way, as we're cleaning up the teams and the chat so that you can all be part of the collaboration during the calls. You might see you've been removed from the call. It doesn't mean it's not happening. Don't worry. It's still happening on Tuesdays starting the 22nd of August. And the other calls, which you're on right now, are all still active. So every Thursday, the Power Platform Monthly, those are all active. No breaks there. We are here for you. You can count on it like clockwork, 7 a.m. Pacific on Tuesdays and the third Wednesday of the month for the Power Platform. You can access all of these calls and the recurrent invites at aka.ms/community/calls. So definitely get involved. Now, if you're thinking, I want to show some cool stuff on these calls. If Chris can do it, I can do it. And that's true. And we're all welcoming you to do that. So all you got to do is you got to fill out that little form there at aka.ms/community/request/demo. And we will get you set up. We've got a backlog of presenters coming up that's fantastic, but we have room for more. So definitely check that out as your community call. We want you to be empowered to take advantage of that. So definitely get involved and fill that out. If you have any questions, you need a buddy, you want to do it with another and collaborate with another community member, we can take care of that too. Just let us know in the notes, and we'll buddy you up with someone to get that taken care of. Now, as mentioned, the next call for that platform call is going to be on the 22nd of August. Again, if you join, you're going to get alerts and reminders that it's coming up because we can't remove those from your calendars. Just know it's not there. We'll be there, though, to show you that it's not there. See how that works? We're there even when it's not there. So we want to make sure that you are taken care of. Now, you're going to see a number of really cool things today in terms of community resources and programs and projects. And you're going to wonder, how can I get involved with these? Sharing is Caring is a program that we set up long ago to provide hands-on guidance. That means that we're going to get into live Teams calls with you, show you how to accomplish things like submitting your first pull request through GitHub. What is a pull request through GitHub? We're going to cover that too. Now, it's been a while since these sessions have been launched or scheduled because we've been working through some scaling opportunities, but we are happy to announce that we have the Power Platform Samples contributor, and we're going to be creating videos for some of these, so they're a little more self-service, the items that are a little less interactive and hands-on. We are now using the Teams webinar feature, so it's much more robust for you to sign up and interactive. You get that invite immediately, so we're excited for that. We're going to be we got the Power Platform set up. We're going to be setting up the general first-time contributor soon and setting videos for those other ones as well. So to get access to those, just go to aka.ms/sharingiscaring, and you will see more information coming soon on those as well. But go get scheduled for that Power Platform Samples contributor. We know we've been having a lot of requests for that. Now, once you do submit and contribute to the community, we have badges for you. Everybody loves the badges. So this is our community recognition program powered by Credly. It is not going away. You may have seen that some other programs within Microsoft are getting a little further away from Credly and starting out other initiatives. Don't worry, we are not. We are, in fact, upping our investment in the community and Credly. And we've been trying to make it a little bit more self-service as well. So the opt-in process is now handled by MailChimp, so it's a little easier for you to go in and update, confirm you're part of the program. But we do need everyone to opt in. So go check out aka.ms/community/recognition, and we will be working on getting even more badges out soon. We're going to be working on hackathon badges and more special program badges because we want to do more for the community. So definitely get involved. All right, now let's move over to some project-specific updates. And today for PNP.NET libraries, Vesa is going to cover.
Excellent. Quickly in here, we do have two libraries, PNP Framework, PNP Core SDK. Core SDK is the more modern one, which you should be using if you start doing operations within Microsoft 365. Behind the scenes, it's using APIs from Season and prioritizes Microsoft Graph, but it creates a wrapper on top of the Graph to make it easier to actually implement stuff in .NET. And that's the whole idea of these two libraries. Now, PNP Framework, a bit more classic, 1.5 million downloads, and the PNP Core SDK keeps on growing, 1.8 million downloads in NuGet, which is mind-boggling. We're super curious on knowing where we should be investing, what's missing. Are they both feature complete? Probably not. So let us know what you would like to get to be available in those libraries. But that's pretty much all from this side. Thanks to everybody for contributions as well. And let us know, feedback is welcome. Let's move to Gautam.
Awesome. Thank you, Vesa.
Thank you. Thanks, Vesa. Thanks, David. So, yep, from news from the PNP PowerShell side of the things, version 2.2.0 is out, has so much goodness. We released 19 new commandlets and improved probably double improved double the number of commandlets as well. So do check it out and let us know how it works for you. Besides that, we have not been sitting idle. We also managed to add a couple of more parameters to the set PNP commandlet as well for configuring some media transcription settings. So we'd absolutely love to hear your feedback and would love to hear from you on the discussion forum as well as on the issue list from GitHub. So thanks. Over to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Gautam. Let's move on to Yo Teams today with Tommy. And Tommy.
Hello and welcome. Hi, I'm here today because Stefan and Rick are unfortunately unavailable. The one sits on a plane and the other is paddling along a river, as far as I know. This unfortunately means for you there are no big news around Yo Teams because let's face it, if big news are here, I wouldn't be here. Those guys would never give up their spot when something major would be released. What the team actually is working on is that we have a nasty bug since end of May that Stefan and Rick are trying to close, basically. And I'm using the chance, if anyone out there is able to contribute to help us solve this bug or help us in general with Yo Teams, please contact us. We are always looking out for contributors. I'm just checked before. There are a couple of guys following up on the bug. If you have an idea, if you can help, please contribute. We're happy to get your help, and we hope that summer is coming and we might have one or more additional hour for Yo Teams. And with that, back to Mr. Radio Voice. Thank you.
Tommy, we love you. We welcome you every week, so we want you to come back. So thank you. All right, let's talk about Microsoft Teams Toolkit with John.
Thanks, David. Similar story for Teams Toolkit. No major updates for us either. Working on bug fixes and on the next release. But in case you missed it, I just put the same stuff here from last time. We have the 5.0 releases available, the .1 pre-releases there, and that fixes bugs from the 5.0 release. So the changelog is available on GitHub if you want to see the full story there. Check it out. And also, as always, if you want to chat with me directly about Teams development and let me know what you need from tooling or the platform, etc., I'd be happy to chat with you one-on-one. And there's a link there at the bottom that will let you sign up to chat with me. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, John. All right. Ups next is Microsoft Graph Toolkit, or MGT. 3.0 has been shipped. Not enough time to cover all the amazingness that's included in it, but go update your packages. Check it out at ak.ms/mgt/3.0.0.0.0.0. Yep, lots of zeros, but check it out. Now, you are also welcome to help fix bugs, build improved features. Go check those out at, yeah, today's the day. Go check those out at ak.ms/mgt/issues. All right, now let's talk about some independent publisher connectors with Jocelyn.
Hello, everyone. Per usual, we have even more connectors than we did last time. We are now at 1052 total connectors. So we're closer to our next 100 than we were at 1,000, which is super crazy. I just want to say a huge thank you to our most recent independent publishers for their awesome contributions, Ray, Andras, Troy, and fellow Ray. Per usual, we also have our labs call, which is a connector-specific call hosted, I believe, on the second, first, something like that, Wednesday of every single month, where we dive into connector and other Power Platform specific content. Of course, we are part of the badge program, and we always need more connectors. So resources will be in the chat for you to find out what connector you can make to contribute to our repo. Thank you all so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Joss. And definitely check out that call, which is on a day of the week during a month sometime.
Absolutely.
We got you. Awesome.
Too many calls, David.
I know, but we love them. We love them. All right, let's talk about some script samples with Paul Bullock.
Thank you, David. So Script Samples is a repository where you can host your PowerShell scripts and share them with the community. So obviously PowerShell supports a broad range of tools, so does the site. So we've got Microsoft Graph, PnP PowerShell, SPM Management Shell, CLI for M365, and loads more. And it integrates with the solution sample gallery. So any sample submitted here will also appear there, which is super cool. And we've got some new scenarios today. So we've got 2 new PnP PowerShell scripts. So list custom fields and SharePoint lists and libraries by Reshmi Aklu. We've got generate a CSV report from a selection of site collections showing the time of the most recent update by Casper Larsen. We've got a more generic PowerShell sample that was recently submitted. So get transport for London status with OpenAI function calling feature, which is super cool, by Anoop Tati. We've got updated scripts for CLI for 365. So these scenarios now include these new tooling as well. So test user preferred language of a SharePoint site by Ganesh Snap. And we've got another sample that's been updated to include PnP PowerShell that deploys and installs SharePoint framework solutions to hub site and associated sites by Reshmi Aklu. So that's super cool. We've got a badge system. We've got 3 badges you can earn on this program. So if you submit to this repository, you get a nice cool badge. And I do encourage you that if you are seeking those, make sure you opt in and you'll get one. So thank you very much. And again, if you need any help with contributing to this repo or any assistance with your samples, you're trying to figure out how to get it in, by all means, you can reach out to me via Twitter or LinkedIn or GitHub issues. I don't mind which medium. We do have contribution guidance on the site as well to help you out, and a PowerShell script that makes your PowerShell samples. But thank you very much. You're absolutely amazing, and this is an awesome stuff that you've all been doing. So thank you very much for your contributions. Over to you, David.
All right, thanks, Paul. By the way, I sent you a message on Threads. I'm still waiting for you to get back to me. But you know, there's always that. Awesome. Let's move over to team samples with Bob German. Bob, you're muted.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I just realized that. Thank you. So yeah, this week I want to thank. Well, actually, I'm starting to see a bit of an uptick in contributions, which is great. I'm gonna the 2 that I just merged this week are actually both from Anoop Tati, and I want to thank Anoop for that. What they have in common is that they both use OpenAI, and they both actually use the OpenAI function calling feature. One of them shows and reveals data about the London transportation system, and the other one about stock prices using the FinHub API. So these are really cool. And you know, what I really like also is that Anoop actually thanked Lee Ford and Kunj Sangani for their samples that helped him write his samples. So I love the sort of snowballing effect of goodness, where one sample, you know, helps somebody write another sample or inspires another one. I want to also just throw out there that I have a couple more submissions waiting, and and looking forward to iterating on them a little bit. They were built with Teams Toolkit. I love seeing samples built with Teams Toolkit. Sometimes I can just hit F5 and they just run, which is so much easier. However, I think I'm sort of I've got a side conversation going with John, and I just want to sort of reveal this publicly a little bit, that I want to come up with a checklist, because it seems very easy for people to submit their Teams Toolkit sample, and it doesn't work because some setting didn't get cleared out, or something that was already installed on somebody's workstation wasn't listed in the prerequisites. So it's just kind of trying to fine tune that and get you all some better kind of checklist or contribution guidelines, so that we get a higher first try success rate on those contributions. But please don't stop using Teams Toolkit, and please don't stop building great samples for the community. Thanks very much. And back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. All right. We're almost on time, so we'll just wrap it up here with Power Platform samples and prompts with April Dunham.
Thanks, David. So we have a new way that you all could contribute, and that's by putting your favorite Power Platform prompts in our new Power Platform prompts repo. So every product now has a Copilot. We have Copilots for apps and automating virtual agents, and we even have AI builder models that use Azure OpenAI, so we can take the full advantage of generative AI in our Power Platform solutions. So we've curated this library with a few sample prompts for you, so you can do things like proofreading before you send out an email, or maybe even generating SMS. We even have prompts to help you generate prompts and help you get images and generate images with Dolly and all of that. So many things like we can do already with some of the prompts that we have in here that you can start integrating with your Power Platform solutions. And we would love to see your prompts and share that with the community. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, April. I love the prompts to help prompts, like Brad said, promptception. That's very, very cool. All right. Now, what time is it? It is picture time. So Vesta's already got together mode already. Yep, he's sharing out. Excellent. Thank you. Get those cameras turned on.
I'm apparently frozen. It's fine. It's okay.
No, it looks like it's updating.
Wow. No. The screen is updating, but I'm frozen. So you can hear me, but you see, this is not me paying attention.
Yeah.
Okay,
Your camera is frozen. Yeah. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, let it go. We have few more seats. We can sing more. Let it go. David, let it
go. That's all I know.
Exactly. There we go. Todd knows how to do that. Let me put the recording on. And let's do some hand waving, everybody. Thank you once again joining. We'll grab a GIF animation out of this and share it in the community channels on social media. Thanks, everybody. Great work there, Todd, being an example today. Excellent. We'll do a GIF animation out of that. Let's get back to the real stars of the day.
All right. Awesome. Okay, it is time for our All-Stars. So we are going to begin with Stephen on how to automate and optimize your requisition process with the Power Platform. Stephen, if you'd like to take it away.
Thanks, David. I'm sharing my screen, so do let me know when it's visible.
Yep. Just load it, just throw that in the presentation mode, and you're all good to go.
Wonderful. All right. So this one is going to be quick. I just wanted to show the world on how these tools, the Power Platform, is helping us here in Malawi to automate these entire processes in regards of procurement and then requisition and so on and so forth. So about myself, my name is Stephen. I'm a business applications developer. I'm connecting from Malawi, and you can find me on both LinkedIn and Twitter. My credentials are still Stephen Thawe on both social media platforms. And the issue that I had was that there was a manual process flow in regards to the requisition, the procurement processes. So with the manual way of doing things in regards of doing the quotations, invoicing, procurement, there's an issue of time. It's time consuming, and you need people to be present in their offices in order for you to have the sign off, the signatures, and so on and so forth. There's lack of visibility and tracking, and also there's a limited accessibility and collaboration. And as you already know, with the manual processes, there's an efficient approval process as well. If someone is on holiday and is responsible for the approvals, there's going to be an issue with that entire setup. So how can we use Power Platform in order for us to be able to automate that entire thing, that entire process flow? So what I came up with was splitting the workload in different processes. Making sure that you divide the business units. In so doing, you have got the users who are using the systems, and these ones will be given the roles just to be able to raise the requisitions and then do the management. They can also raise the purchase orders as well. But now, after something has been raised, as you can see here, it has to go through the head of department. So when I'm raising it, maybe I'm under the IT department, and the IT manager has to make sure that they approve on that particular item. So it goes to the head of department. After the head of department approves, it will proceed to go to the budget approval for the finance and budget review to make sure that it's falling within the budgets, and they have to also make sure that it's consolidated with the budget codes and everything else. After that, it will go to the finance manager, who's acting as the finance approver, and then they'll do the final approval, plus they'll also provide the authorized signatory. All of this process is being done in Power Apps by using the Power Platform. It's just a model-driven application, forms, views, and everything else. But in the background, the engine that is making everything work is the Power Automate, and the other Power Platform tools. So when it comes to the visualizing of the data that is in the system, you've got Power BI for that. If it comes to the communications, you have got the Power Automate and so on and so forth. The purchase order process is a bit simple, straightforward, because it's just my requisition has been approved. I want a purchase order for this to send to the vendor. All I have to do is raise it, send it, the system will send it to the final approver, they'll provide the signature, and then and so on and so forth. The system also has got the stock transaction process as well, where it's just a matter of managing the inventory, what's coming in, what's coming out, at the date at which maybe goods are being delivered, the service is being delivered, you can actually log that transaction into their system itself. So any questions that you might have for me, you can just post them in the chat, but I feel like, talk is cheap, so I'll just proceed to showcase exactly how the system works. So just confirm, team, everyone, if you're able to see David, are you seeing the application here, the model-driven interface?
Yep, looks good.
Wonderful. Okay, so we already know how everything works when it comes to the model-driven application, but on the left-hand side, this is where I've got all the links in order for me to access different parts of the system. So I've got the different workflows, as I showed in the presentation, that we've got the requisition process flow, the purchase orders, the stock transactions, and the inventory manager is to manage the categories of the products that we're keeping in the system. And the products as well. What kind of products are we keeping in the system? For the finance operations, this is the part that they'll be handling, where they'll be handling the payments accounts, the bank's budget accounts, for all of that. And each and every interface in here, if Stephen Thawe is only supposed to be raising the requisitions, then I'll only be limited to only see a couple of items because of role-based security as well. That's the engine that's helping me to only see items which are pertaining to me. But as you can see here, because for this demonstration purposes, I'm acting as the admin, the super user, that's why I've got access to everything else. But the main fundamental engine of the system, where it has to say that, okay, who's the head of department? This is where we're coming to the approval center. So I'll just go to the approval center. This is where you define everyone who will be using the system. If Steven is the head of department for the IT department, the moment someone is raising a requisition falling under the IT department, then I will be prompted in real time that there's something pending for your recommendation. Same applies for the finance approval, the budget review, all of those that are defined in here. So the system will know that, okay, if it's time for the budget review, I'll have to notify this budget reviewer. Okay, so now if I go back to the workflows, Okay, as you can see here, I've got different views, different filters. I can see items that have been approved. I can see the items that are still active, which haven't been approved yet. But for now, I don't have anything as of yet. So in order for me to raise a new one, I'll just click on new. This will give me this fresh new form. And as you can see here on the process flow, I've got different levels of the entire process flow. So here I can say that this is just office equipment. We need office chairs.
Hey, Stephen, while you're filling that in, one thing, can you just hit Control Plus a couple times so we can just get a little bit of a zoom in?
Sure.
Perfect. Excellent.
Yeah, wonderful. All right. So here on the payment method, you can specify that this will be a cash payment or a purchase order payment. So here I would just define that the request line is IT because of I've added myself as an IT, so I need to showcase that as well. On behalf of, if I'm raising this on behalf of someone else, I can add them in here so that they don't have to be prompting me with issues. Where are we on this? Where's my current requisition? Or add the system will in real time be notifying them as well. Whenever something is moving from recommendation to budget review, the person who's on behalf of will be notified as well. So as you can see here, I've added the basic information for the requisition itself. And here the grand total is 0 because I need to add line items. So if I click on new under quotations, it will open up this quick form where I can say I just need 1 chair for the new employee. Okay, the unit price of this one is 500. I need 5 of these. Okay, I'll save and close. It will take me back to the previous screen. All I have to do here is to come back to the grand total, make sure that I do the recalculate. It will give me the total sum that I'm requesting as of now. And here, as you can see, I've got these supporting documents here. So what I've done now is I've integrated with SharePoint that all the information, whether it's attachments, quotations, recordings, video recordings, email attachments, everything that you are attaching in support of this particular document is saved and archived in SharePoint. But still, you can retrieve it from the Power Platform as well. Because previously I had an issue where I was saving everything within the Dataverse, and as you already know, then the space was quickly running out. So as you can see here, this file, I've uploaded it. I'm able to see it within my application, but it's being saved in SharePoint. For my task as a person raising the requisition, I'm done. In order for me to hand it over to the next individual, it's as simple as just coming in here and then clicking next stage. In so doing, in the background, what the system is doing now is that it's going into the approvers list and then checking who's the head of this department, this ICT department. And then if it gets that, okay, Stephen is the head of that ICT department, it will send that individual a notification. So as you can see here, I've received this notification here that I've requested office chairs, and I can click here on this hyperlink to view that particular item. So the moment I'm the recommender, I've clicked on the link that has come to my Teams, and it is also coming to my email as well. If I check my email, you see that the notifications will also be there. The moment that happens, as you can see here, I've received that notification. If I click on this particular link, what will happen is that I'll be redirected back to the application. So as a recommender, only I will have access to this because there's a column level security. That's why you have got this key over here. So no, a person who's just raising the requisition cannot necessarily recommend their own requisitions as well. So here I'll recommend, I'll add my comments, I'll click next, so on and so forth. That entire process will be work from start to finish, and so on and so forth. So now what happens when I've selected the purchase order? Because as you can see here, we only have got 3 tabs. We have got the summary tab, the approvals tab that shows me the audit trail who did what into the system, but as well as here, as you can see, we have got documents, but you can only raise the purchase order when something has been approved. Okay, so in order for me to demonstrate that, I'll go back to my requisitions. I'll just select an item which was approved, which is this one. And as you can see, because I selected purchase order, here I've got another additional tab, which is the purchase order. So now I can proceed to raise the purchase order. In order for me to do that, I can just click here. This is just a subgrid. From here, if I click on that, I need to specify who's the supplier for this particular service. So it's a Microsoft corporation. The order date is today, and the client, the vendor, specify that they'll deliver the goods by tomorrow. Okay, I'll save that. As you can see in here, this is just a quick view card, which shows me the breakdown of the information for the requisition that I'm raising this purchase order for. The moment I do this, the system will send this particular request, the purchase order, to the individual responsible for the approvals. As you can see here, it's still pending approval. And then when the person receives the notification with a link, they can come in here, provide their signature. Okay, confirm. When they confirm their signature, they can now approve. And now the moment they approve, now the system will get all the information that is related to this particular record. It will get all that and then generate and then add it onto a template. Okay, it will add it onto a template and then it will generate a PDF. So as you can see, the signature that I provided from the system, it will be attached in here and authorized signature. Everything else can be customized in regards to the logos and how everything looks, but all this information is the information that we've retrieved exactly from that particular request that we've raised. And then I just wanted to point out on how everything is working on if something is moving from one stage to the other. How is the automation working like? How is the Power Automate functioning? So as you can see here on the requisition approvals, I'm doing the currency manipulation, getting who's on behalf of, just doing the data cleanup as well. But here I've got a switch. So what this switch does is that it checks at which stage am I. Okay, am I on recommendation? If I'm on recommendation, then the system is updating it to recommendation and then sending those notifications to the different individuals. And when I'm handing it over to the budget reviewer, the system will first of all has to verify if this was recommended. If it was recommended and it was also approved on the previous step, it will also proceed to send the notification. So each and every process flow is acting as its own trigger, and then doing the data manipulation and making sure that everything works. So David, in a nutshell, that's the experience that I wanted to showcase on how the Power Platform and everything else is working together to make sure that it provides a seamless solution to a problem that many people might have in regards to digitization and making sure that we get rid of these paper-based processes. Over to you, David.
Awesome stuff, Stephen. Very, very cool. This is very well thought out. Love the better together. Excellent job. Everybody give him a round of applause. I believe, Stephen, this is your first demo on the call, right?
Yes, it is.
Woo! Yeah, excellent, excellent.
Thank you so much.
Your own applause. Awesome. Okay, well, in the interest of time, if you have questions, let's put those in the chat. But now we're going to move on to Ejaz on how to build a PDF document pack using Microsoft Teams tab SSO and Azure Functions. Ejaz, take it away.
Thanks, David. Hi, everyone, and let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
I see the mountains of your desktop.
So I'm just sharing this presentation. Right. Okay. My name's Ejaz, and I am a developer architect. Works in a company called Content and Cloud. Content Cloud is a Microsoft Gold partner in Microsoft 365, Azure, and Dynamics 365 space. Here is my Twitter handle. If you have any question, want to get in touch, please feel free to do that. So today we're talking about a app called PDF Document Pack app. Now, and it's been so we're gonna also talk about what this Document Pack app is. Quick demo, quick code review, what's that involved, and then if you have any question at the end. So so in terms of the document pack app, it's basically it's built using Microsoft Toolkit 5.0, Visual Studio Code Toolkit 5.0 as a Teams tab, as a front end, and as the back end, I use Azure Function, which I use C# version of Azure Function created using Visual Studio 2022. So it's a front end Teams tab, a back end as a Azure Function. So what this does basically is what it does is you can get the different types of file which is supported by Microsoft Graph API endpoint, which basically help you to convert any sorts of documents into the PDF. I think there's it's covered pretty much all the Office files and all the other CSV, etc. in the 1.0 endpoint. But if you go into the beta endpoint, there's quite a lot more it's poured in terms of the conversion into the PDF. So I'm using the Graph API endpoint in terms of the PDF conversion. So what it does basically, you can upload different types of documents to the Microsoft Teams tab, and then it's convert into the PDF, all of them. And then at the end, it's going to merge them together, make it like a one single document pack. So this functionality could also be extended to in SPFX side as well. Like for example, you might have 10 or 15 documents based on your requirement in document library, and you can create a SPFX extension. You can select all those documents, hit extension, go and do the same thing. You want to convert them into PDF, but at the same time, you don't want to merge them into a single document pack to share with your client or in your business scenario. So that's what we're talking about today, document pack, PDF document pack. So in terms of the architecture of this app, this is how it works. So I've created a Teams tab with single sign-on ability. So when you go to the Teams tab, it doesn't have to kind of sign in again and again. Probably you have to do once and consent the permissions, required permission via the consent prompt. And once it's done, then you go in there. It will basically know who you are. And then it lets you basically use the app. And then you can upload the document, hit upload or create document pack. The request goes to Azure Function, and you also pass the SSO token to Azure Function. Azure Function will take your SS token and use on behalf of Flow to create the Microsoft Graph client. And then go and do all the processing of the files. So you convert the files into the PDF, and then also merge them into single one, and then send you a link back of that the document pack, so you can view it or you can upload it to document library or whatever you want to do with that document. So it's using Microsoft Graph API and of course Azure AD and the behind the scene. So before I go into the details, so there are some prerequisites for this app. So you need to have a Microsoft Visual Studio Code 5.0 installed. So you need this one to create a tab, Microsoft Teams tab. Then you need some Node.js. You need Microsoft 365 account for the development, and also I've created this .NET C# function using the Visual Studio. So I had it in my machine Visual Studio 2022. So that's why I put it as a prerequisite for this work. You could also create your function as a client side, like in JavaScript or TypeScript as well. But there are some steps you need to follow to get this running, so that when you press F5 in your Teams tab, the both front end and the back end run at the same time. So that's also a possibility, but I did not explore that part. So I've used the Visual Studio 2022 to create my Azure function, and then I hook up the Teams tab with that. So let's do a quick demo. So if I go here, so here's my app. So I'm going to just refresh it again. So you can see, I mean, the first time it did ask me, it gave me the consent prompt when I first logged in, And then now if I go back and again or refresh, it knows basically who am I and already authenticated, so I'm good to go. So now if I click on the drop file or click browse here, so I can select different types of file. Let's say if I select some Excel, some Word, etc. Click open. So and then click document pack. It's going to go and send the request to Azure function, do all the processing for me behind the scenes. There you go. So you have a document successfully ready. So I'm spitting out just the link of that document pack. So if I click on the document pack, you could see all of my PowerPoint in there, or my Word document in there, and everything in there. So that might be something you want to do for your clients. So it's one single document with all the the documents they wanted to you want to share with them. So yeah, that's this one. Now that's the demo. If I go back into my upload folder in here, in my OneDrive, so you could see this document which is just created a minute ago. That's what it's done. So yeah, that's how it works. Now, if you go back and look into the code, how did I get this set up? So if I go and show you this one. So first of all, this is a front end, which is a Microsoft Teams tab. You can go and simply create a new app tab, and then I use the React with the Fluent UI option here to create my tab. So once I've done, it's like once the app is created, then the main thing is before I get into the code, I think what we need, I have added a couple of parameters because yeah, this could be, we don't need to add any parameter here for now. So you can basically, I have here updated in Teams app.local.yaml file. So what it did is basically, if you see here, I think this is probably make more sense. So so that's automatically set up for you. I mean, you don't have to do anything. If you I'm putting all these client secrets when I create my app, Azure AD app, when I hit 5, it said taking the Azure AD client secret and everything and creating into my environment variables, so I don't have to do any of these setting myself. And also I'm using also Teams toolkit for my local environment for tunneling. So if you see my link here, it's local host. So I'm not using nrock or whatsoever. So I'm using local host for my dev environment, for my local environment when I'm debugging. So yeah, I don't have to do much here, to be honest. I had this step which is at the bottom. I have like a spitting out this client ID, client secret, tenant ID, etc., and available allowed API IDs for going into the API folder, but the API folder where I have my Azure function. So we can go back and look into in more detail. But initially, I was planning to use the JavaScript or TypeScript version of the Azure function, but then I changed my mind and I end up creating a Azure function via the Visual Studio Code. We'll go through in detail here as well. So we go to the component quickly, which is the main component. What's going on here with document pack? So first thing we check here, the first thing we check is when we're initializing the auth, and what's initializing the auth is doing, checking if check is consented needed, if the consented needed, if it is needed, and just the scope you are providing which you need. It basically, if it's needed, then it go into, if it's not needed, if it's needed, it will go into the login action. And the login action, nothing, is just basically asking the user to go and get the credential and give you the pop-up. And then if it's not needed, then simply go initialize the data and say you already authenticated. And once it's authenticated, it'll take you to the file selector component. And here I'm using Dropzone React UI package for uploading the file, for file uploader. So once we upload the file, every time I'm getting the file content via this method, and when I click uploads, this is the magic is happening here, where I know the API base URL. So at the moment, if you see, I've deployed my Teams tab to the Azure, so it's basically in Azure. But my function is still I'm running as a local. You could see I've hit the debugger here, and my debugger is working here on the behind the scene. So I haven't deployed to the Azure, so that's why you could see the local path pointing to my Azure function. So here I'm passing this token as my part of my request to Azure function, and then once I also passing my, if you see this request, I'm passing this data, all the file, uploaded file, and this is my API client. And when I hit this, what happened is under the API, I've created this function which PDF conversion, and this is the PDF conversion function within the API folder. The main thing is, which I think is really cool, is the binding for Teams Toolkit providing you binding. For Azure function binding. So this package, which if I just show you my project file, so you could see here, Microsoft Web Jobs extension TMFX. So all you have to do is get this package, and then you hook up this package as a input binding parameters. And here are my allowed APIs. So allowed APIs, you can define your allowed APIs is in which are the APIs, the APIs request you're expecting. So you can also define it here as well. So, and what this does is, when a request comes in, is automatically, basically, it will have this access token, and it automatically, you can spit it out, retrieve the access token from there. So you don't have to kind of check the access token by yourself from the authorization header. You don't need to check the valid audience. So it does everything for you. And I think it also does the refresh token as well if it's expired. So it's quite really cool. The equivalent is also available in the TypeScript version as well. So yeah, please do check that one as well. So I found it really useful. So once I've got this access token from my request, then what I did is here I'm creating on behalf of my client credential with the client ID, client secret, and as well as the access token which I received from the request. And then once I've got my client, I'm going through each of this request of the file. I'm creating a temp file in my OneDrive, converting that temp file into like a PDF, which if I go to show you this one, so if I PDF, so this is endpoint I'm using, which available with part of the SDK. So if I go back, and then once it's converting to the PDF, that particular file, and then I'm removing that temp file, and it's keep doing it for all the files I'm providing, and then I'm actually basically going through calling my file service to merging them, all of them into one single file. So for the merge one, if I just go in this quick detail, so going through here, merge file. So you can see here, I'm using this package, pdfshop.pdf.io, and then it's basically reading the bytes, merging into together as like a master PDF, and getting all the pages. So just to show you exact name of the package, you can just get it from here. So this is the pdfshop.migradoc-gdi. That's what I'm using. So please use this if you want to merge the documents together. So once I've got the merged document, then I'm uploading back to my OneDrive and then sending the link back to my Teams. So here's my link. So that's how it's doing. So yeah, that's how it is working. So just one last thing from my side is to show you in the add.manifest.json. So when you hit 5 or etc. So before you do that, make sure you add your permission for the Graph API, whatever you need it, so you don't have to set up this as a manual. When it's going to create the Azure AD app, make sure it will pick up all these Graph API requests you need it. So make sure to have this updated in here as well. Yeah, that's all from me. If you have any question.
Awesome, Ejaz. Very, very cool stuff. This is really, really another well thought out demo today. So thank you. Now, in the interest of time, questions in the chat. We'll have an opportunity for everyone to collaborate with Ejaz and Stephen later. But let's move on over to the Monarch of Mares, our Emperor of Equestrians, Sultan of Stallions, Chris Kent.
I don't even know what to do with that.
Yeah, it's only downhill from here.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So I assume you can hear me then. Woo!
I can, yes.
All right. Well, here we go. I'm Chris. Let's talk about some stuff. All right. So sometimes you get these interesting requirements, and you got to talk through them and figure out how to solve some things. So we've got our warrior horses, and they've got a meeting coming up here, right? As a lot of people do. It's the annual meeting of the Council of the Dark Hooves, right? It's a big deal, right? All executives are going to be presenting on this call. Right, there's a lot of coordination, ton of back and forth emails on everybody trying to get all the documents ready. You probably got similar situations in your organization where this is annual, maybe you've got quarterly meetings, right? And they're a big deal. The poor executive assistants are all, find out schedules and coordinating all this stuff, and they're probably sending out, 15 to 150 different agenda updates, right, on the actual Teams meeting. And so it gets pretty crazy as they're trying to collaborate these things together. And so maybe they come to you and say, help me, please, right? And so here we're going to take a look at how maybe the horses are trying to solve some of that, right? Just kind of bring some of that madness in, right? So we had a similar request come in, right? And one of the things they wanted was, they said, hey, we're in Teams already. We want to have kind of a dashboard where we can get all the, right? We want to have all the things people are supposed to look at. We want to be able to see the agenda. During the actual meeting, we want to capture action items and so on. Can you build us a custom application? It's like, well, yeah, you could, right? Or we could look at what we already have, right? So when you think of Teams and you think of dashboard, maybe even Google it, you come up with like the Teams toolkit has a pretty cool dashboard template, and that's great. You could run that custom application route, and that's all right. But what if you took advantage of the fact that we already have a pretty good dashboard system available? It's very end user friendly, and that would be SharePoint Pages. So let's take a look. All right, let me switch over here. Wop, wop. There we go. Perfect. Get rid of little David here. Bye, David. All right. So now we're in our team site, right? And I've already created a page in the interest of time with some starter stuff on it. So I'm just going to SharePoint page to our team. And we'll see. I'm not going to post to this channel about this tab. So I've got my annual meeting, which I've started here, right? Well, they're right here. So now I have my little dashboard, so-called, right? It's just using the out-of-the-box web parts right now. I can edit this right in here in Teams, which is cool. So this is some quick links, not those slow links you're used to. These are very fast, right? And this is also quick links for a couple different views, right? Documents, maybe they need to read ahead of time. So these are the pre-read items saying, hey, this is what's going to be relevant in this meeting. So please, review these documents or these BI dashboards. During the meeting, right, maybe you're showing all the different locations where people are. The nice thing is when they visit this page, that'll be unique to them. It'll show them how far ahead they are and so on. And then maybe actually have the actual document or presentation here embedded. And maybe even got a planner, right? So you can capture action items as they happen during the meeting. And that's pretty cool. And in this kind of situation, I always turn comments on for the page because then during the meeting or during the actual planning for things, you can mention someone and so on, have a conversation about the agenda and everything that's happening right here. And none of this, is in conflict with all the cool stuff you get from Teams, right? If you schedule that and you go to that and you get the notes and so on. This is, again, more about that coordination during and after. But here's a couple of things we might have noticed as we did this. All right, the first one is we're in Teams. This is a team site. I would expect a team site to have left-hand navigation. But because I'm in Teams, I don't have that. Right, when I'm editing, I don't have even the Teams navigation, but when I'm not editing, I just have this, right? The Teams navigation or chats or whatever I'm looking at, but I don't have the navigation for the site. So if I wanted to create something, let's rename that real quick. Call that something more generic, like agenda. I already have a tab with that name. That is a lie. Agenda. Perfect. Okay, we'll just call that agenda. So we've got this tab here, but we want navigation inside here. Maybe we're trying to look at different dashboards. We could add another quick links here, but then we're always maintaining that on the individual page. So we want some place where we've got some centralized navigation. So you guessed it, it's going to be a list. So I'm just going to add it because we're already in Teams. I'm just going to add it right here. So I'm going to go to list, and I'm going to grab that navigation list that I went ahead and created. I'm going to hit save. You don't have to do this here, right? They can just do it on the existing site, but again, I'm doing it because it's fun here. Or you might give the executive assistants, their own channel where they're planning out these things, right? So I've got this idea of navigation here. I've just put them all to Google. But the idea here is that we could create a new view. We'll call this, display just create that. And then in here, I'm just going to group these by the category. All right, so I've got this. This is my navigation. Very exciting. Let's go ahead and save that view so we get the grouping saved as part of it. But I'm going to format that view. I'm going to go ahead and grab a format I've already got here, and we'll take a look at what's inside it. So if I grab this and I just paste that, we'll take a look here. So if we preview that, what we've done is we've taken advantage of the grouping, right? So we get this kind of nice feature. We can get the collapsing and expanding if we wanted it. And all we've really done is we've taken away the XX text, like the count of items inside. We didn't want that. And then we've made these items an actual link. Oh, excuse me. All right, so we have the idea here. We've got links, and this is pretty cool. And when we put this inside a Teams tab, it's going to take care of if it's a local link, it's going to open within that same tab. And if it's an external link, it's going to open up a new tab and a new window. So that's pretty cool. We don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm going to save that. And if I head back over to my agenda page, all right, we'll edit this again. Now I can come over here and I can add a web part. We'll add the list web part, and we'll pick our navigation list. All right, and then we can come over here to our settings. And we could say that we want our view to be the display. And so we get our nice format and stuff, and we'll, let's see, we'll take that off, and we'll hit apply. All right, so we get our navigation, and you can call that whatever you want, right? We'll just keep it navigation. That's very exciting. But the idea is now I've got navigation that's going to be the same across any of these pages that I create here, right? So if I'm creating multiple agendas and so on, I would have that same navigation, and there's just one spot they can edit that, and you can show them how to edit that right in the list. And, you know, so we've basically put our web part with some minor custom formatting right in line with all the other web parts, which is awesome, right? So now we're starting to build a dashboard type thing. We're only modifying a few things here. All right, so now we're going to quickly add another one. So we're going to add another list here. Come on. There we go. Going to add Microsoft list one more time. And then this time I'm going to create a new list. Save here. Spin. There we go. Create a list. And we're going to go to a blank list. So we're getting some of that same kind of experience we had before. We're just going to call this topics. All right. You could pick all of this if you want. This is only for the list app. I'll just pick it red. It's very exciting that way. So topics. All right. And then we're going to create that. And there's going to be nothing in this list so far, right? It's just going to have a title column. But right here inside this tab, we can create all of the extra columns we need. We can apply the format like we saw. And again, then we can set that up for the end users to use. And I'm running out of things to say while this thing is continuing to load. But there we go. All right. Woo, here comes the topics. Perfect. Okay, so the idea, you know, we can take the title here, you know, we can call them settings. We can rename that, you know, topic. It'll still be titled internally, but that just helps make things a little easier for people. So the idea is here we're going to be putting an agenda in place, right? So let's add a person. Here we're going to say this is the presenter. There, and we'll just say, yeah, show the profile photo. That sounds great. We'll save that. You know, we'd probably make some of these required. We're not going to this time. We're just going to say date and time. We're going to say this is the start. We're going to say include the time. All right, so we're just getting basic information that people would want to update with an agenda. All right, so we're going to say this is duration. We're going to say the default value is 15 minutes. Great. And then the last thing we're going to add is a multiple line of text, which we'll add as a description. There you go. Make sure that's not rich text. We're going to save that. And then let's just add a couple of topics here. We'll call this like financial update. Everyone loves a financial update, right? And we'll say, I'm going to present that one. There we go. And we're going to say that starts at, that's fine, at midnight. Say 15 minutes, description, awesome stuff about money. Perfect, okay. Let's make sure we did set that correctly so we picked the right date. There we go, 12 a.m. is fine. We'll make it 5 a.m. Perfect, wake up early. Okay, and then we'll add one more item here just so it looks a little better, and we'll call this, you know, war, what is it good for? I'm making myself laugh. All right, we got, there we go, Dan here, and we'll say he's on this day as well, and he's at, I don't know, 15, that sounds great. He's at 5:15 a.m. He's also 15 minutes, so we say, wowee, yeah, we'll pretend that was English. There we go, we're gonna exit the grid view. And then yes, we can just got some items here, right? So if we go ahead and create a new view, just because we're going to do again that same display. All right, I'm going to create that. And then we're going to format that current view. I'm just going to paste this one in. Again, we're not going to take a look too deep at this. The idea is just using these in conjunction. These are samples that are available to you, though. All right, so now we have this idea. I've taken that information. I've made a little hover card, right, that shows the details about what's going on with the agenda. You can actually click on, this guy. It'll email him, to talk about the agenda, right, if you want to ask questions and so on. But you've also got the contact information. That's pretty cool, right? So we can save that. And then one thing that we want to take a look at is, if I go back to our all items view, how are we going to make this specific to an agenda, right? So one of the things we're going to do is we want to edit this in SharePoint. So I'm actually going to go to the site in SharePoint. We'll just go to the website so I can show you one quick trick here. And we'll go to our topics list. There we go. We could go to site content, or we could say topics. There we go. So go to our topics list, and one of the things we're going to do is a quick trick we've shown a couple of times here. I'm going to go to list settings. I'm running out of time here, but I'm going to quickly do this. I'm going to do advanced settings, and I'm going to turn on folders. So folders are turned on by default for document libraries, but you can turn them on for lists. And I will show you why you'd want to do that once we click on it. All right, so we're going to say, yes, make the new folder command available. We're going to say, OK. And then we go back here, and we can create a little folder. And so this is, again, we're trying to make it easier for other people to manage. So we're going to say this is July 6, 2023 agenda items, right? So let's create that folder. We're going to drag these items right in there. There we go. And if we go in there, now we can see we have a folder, right? So we can have different items. Our display is still going to work here. And if we go back here to our page, let's edit this again. We can add a section up here, say one column, and then we'll add our web part. Add our list web part, and we're going to add our topics, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to edit this. All right, so this is why we use a folder. So we can actually type in July 6, 2023, and that's going to provide us a dynamic filter. All right, so let's turn those off, turn that off, and let's make sure that we're viewing on display. And when we apply that, what that's going to do is going to go ahead and filter just to that folder. So you can create multiple things and you create multiple pages, but you don't have to create individual views. Right, you can use this foldering trick to kind of make that work, right? So we could say topics. And the idea is now we're just customizing that list experience, and we're adding our own with some very minor formats to kind of bring this all together. It's all about those integrations. All right, so we can republish that, and that's great. And I'm running out of time, but what I would say is the next thing you're going to do is you're going to save this as a template. All right, so when you save this as a template, you're going to remove some of the hard-coded links. One thing I highly recommend is when you save it as a template, add an extra text web part with instructions on how to update this page, with the last instruction in red saying delete this web part. All right, that'll make it a lot easier when they go to pick, this is the annual meeting, this is the quarterly meeting, whatever it is, right? And that way they can go ahead and set these up very easily. They can just quickly change out that folder name and create their topics. They got their navigations can be centralized, and you can customize this in all sorts of other ways and make it a really nice experience for them. And then they can just come in here and they can choose the page they want to switch it to. Okay, all right, real quick wrap up, and then we'll be done. All right, so if you're creating list formatting for pages, a couple things to keep in mind. Use the theme classes we've shown before. One kind of disappointing thing is the list web part does not play nice with section backgrounds. It adds a random white box. It's ugly, it's sad. So just keep that in mind when you're designing the pages. And also in advanced scenario, the filters and selection where you can have different web parts, connect to the embed web part and so on, all of that can still work with those list web parts, including with formatting. We've got some other demos of that, but check that out. That's a cool way to go as well. All right, and finally, here's your links and those samples, and that's it for me. Woo! Woo!
Woo! Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Let's wrap this up. All right. We want to thank all of our presenters today. Awesome job by everyone. Excellent work on all these, and a lot of hard work went into that. So thank you. You all may have questions, and we have an opportunity for you to ask them as our community call conversations continues. This is a dedicated space in the Power Apps forums pages where you can discuss and collaborate with each of our presenters today. All you got to do is use either these URLs or the QR codes, and we will put these in the chat as well. They will be available for you to go into and click on after the call. But definitely let them know that they even did a good job. We appreciate all the hard work that goes into the community, everybody, so it doesn't hurt to just go over there and let them know, hey, thank you for doing that demo, really appreciate it. Don't have to have a question, but it always is a nice way to show that community spirit. Now, we also have another way to collaborate within the community. It's our new Discord server. So please take advantage of that. If you're a Discordian, you can absolutely get in there, and you are welcome to join at aka.ms/community/Discord. And we also are looking for some feedback. So if you would like to let us know how things are going on these calls, we would appreciate it. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see improved or more of. It helps us ensure that our management understands the benefits and the power of these calls and how beneficial and useful they are for all of you. So definitely please go fill that out. We beg you to do that. So absolutely, we would appreciate that. The recording will be available within 24 hours on the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community YouTube channel. You can access all of our YouTube accounts at ak.ms/community/videos. And if you subscribe today, you will get alerted immediately when the videos drop. You will be also told in Teams that the video is ready to view and download. It is not, unless you're a Microsoft employee. So go subscribe to get those alerts immediately upon availability, and you'll be much, much happier. You can also follow us on Twitter for updates at M365PNP or the LinkedIn at ak.ms/community/LI. The next Microsoft 365 and Power Platform bi-weekly call 2 weeks from today. Remember, these Thursday calls are not on summer break. We are here for you every Thursday, July 20th at 7 a.m. Next week is the VB Connections SharePoint Framework, July 13th at 7 a.m. You can access all the calls at ak.ms/community/calls. Thank you, everybody, for being the best part of this community. We appreciate all the hard work that you put into it. It would not be possible without you. Have a great rest of your week and a wonderful weekend, and thank you again.